Hello, Internet people. Welcome back. Welcome back. For those of you who might decide to watch this, I appreciate it. Some of you may recall that watched yesterday, I started on a mini project, as I call it. Some parts off of one of my customers, Harley Davidson's. He owns a couple. He's got a wife. They got his and hers. Some of you remember that this piece right here, I'm not sure what piece that is. I made a little smudge there. That's just some leftover product from the polish. And you may recall there was a big long scratch right there somewhere, real deep, and it was surrounded by some abrasions, and it has all but disappeared at this point. Remember now, these have no wax or nothing on them. If you turn the light, if you get down and look at it just right, you can still see where it was. Right there, I think you can see it. But most of it has gone away. And on this end, it had been abraded somewhat. Had some scuffing on it, some scuff marks. I think those have all virtually disappeared. They are gone. And this other piece, which is basically identical, had scuff marks, scratches, some light surface scratches. If they're still there, by golly, I can't find them. There's a little dimple there, but that's a deep defect in the paint when it was put on. Nothing I can do about that. You can see there, that's a little scuff mark is left. No, that's not a scuff mark. That's just a light reflection, I think. I can't see what that is. Oh, that's just a smudge. Even when I'm wearing rubber gloves, you can see I got my gloves on, which I wear 90% of the time when I'm doing this stuff, because some of this, you got a lot of different chemicals you're using in these processes, so forth and so on, and they really do can affect you, and you don't want to get this stuff on your skin if it can be helped. Hey, Miss Jane, how are you today? Just catching everybody up on this little mini project. As you can see, I'm working on it in the kitchen. Good thing there ain't no woman up in here. Should be raising Cain right about now. Hey, Stephanie, Miss Stephanie, how are you doing? Where are you watching from, Stephanie? I can't remember. If I could tilt this thing a little bit without Facebook Live raising Cain at me, but these were strip washed real good, and then they were wet sanded for the most part, real lightly, with some 3M 3000 grit sandpaper. Of course, they were paint prepped again. Yes, I do. I've detailed the man that owns these Harleys. I've detailed his Harley, did paint correction on it, got the scratches off of his gas tank and that sort of stuff for him. It's black just like this. That's the one these pieces came off of, but he's got brand news on there. I don't know why he's even fooling with these, Stephanie, but he is. And I've done his truck and so forth and so on. It's just a repeat customer, and he brought me these pieces, wanted me to work on them, and I said, sure, why not? Why not? So, yeah, I do a lot of detailing. And as I was saying, I did the wet sanding, and then I used my little rotary polisher, and I put a 3-inch backing plate on it and put a gray Lake Country cutting pad on it, which is kind of like a medium cutting pad. It's not real severe. And then I used this stuff right here, this Sonex Cut Max compound. Buffed them. Hey, Miss D. Buffed them with that compound. Got rid of all that. And then I switched over to a different pad. It's a white final polishing pad, very, very soft, also from Lake Country. That's a 3-inch backing plate and a 3-inch pad. little bit bigger than 3-inch, but that's the one you use on there. And some of the heavier spots I hit with this stuff right here. It's an all-in-one polish just to see what it would do. It did okay. Took some of the remaining scratches out, and then my final stage was that same pad on that buffer, and I used this stuff. This is really good stuff. It's a finishing polish. As you can see by the little scale on the side there, it has a little bit of cut to it, but not a lot, which helps you get rid of those final scratches. Now what my plan is, I'll paint prep it, which gets rid of any residue of those other products that I have been using on here. And then I'll use this stuff. You can get this at O'Reilly's. It's just what I use. You don't have to buy this big a bottle. I think they have smaller bottles at O'Reilly's, but I order this because I can get it in bigger quantities because I go through so much of it. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll paint prep these two pieces, get all the residue off. And then, just for kicks, I'm going to put a ceramic coating on these, which is a little bit unwieldy on something this kind of small. But at the moment, I'm using this stuff. It's DPC Shield. If you do it right, it should last up, and you maintain it properly, you know, according to your environment, it should last a couple of years, as opposed to a matter of months for either a wax or a polymer sealant or something of that nature. And now they're coming out with something new that's called graphene. I ain't even got into even looking into all that yet. It's like every time you get used to one thing, they come up with something else. But that ceramic coating, normally it'll improve the gloss and shine. I don't know if that's possible on these two pieces because they were in relatively good shape to begin with. But the biggest advantage in this situation will be the additional longevity that it gives to the surface of these two pieces here, whether or not he puts them back on his current motorcycle or maybe sells them to somebody that needs them for their motorcycle. I don't know what his plans are for these parts here. Because like I say, he's got brand new ones on his bike already. He's always changing his motorcycle around, and I don't think the thing's even 6 months old yet. Yeah, I just use this little matte shine polisher. It's a rotary polisher. I rarely use a dual action polisher, but just giving you some idea of what's going on. And once I get the ceramic coating on there, I'll come back and give y'all a quick look at that. It takes about 4 hours for that to dry to the touch, and ideally 24 hours before you let it get wet. And it even cures beyond that. So anyway, I'm going to put that on. Y'all holler at me in the comment section back down below there if you got any questions. Like my videos, subscribe to it, whatever it is y'all are supposed to do. I'm not real sure. I'm still getting used to all this live internet stuff, but I appreciate y'all. All right, we'll look at you later, Miss D. Bye now.